live in about, I think, 3 seconds. This is 3 seconds delayed. Okay, let me just. Okay, we're currently live now, but there's a delay on YouTube. Okay, we're live. Okay, Z.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Flutter at Home's second webinar. Today we have TruongSinh, our speaker for today. So, hello, thank you for accepting our invitation. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. So I'm TruongSinh. I've been Flutter GDE for I think several months now. So I'm really excited, especially when I saw the speaker profiles because there are several GDEs there, and it brings me so much joy and memories. I think I share that with Joshua because at that time there were 4 GDEs in this Flutter at Home series. One is myself. The other one is the one who interviewed me for the GDE, and
Oh,
the other two are the one who I interviewed. So I
Yep.
mean,
so it's
I
like
have
you know.
yeah, I have really close, so-called close relationship to the other 3 GDEs. So that's why it's really emotional when I see that on the names on the profiles picture in same place. So yeah, really excited and really glad that you guys have this and invited me.
Yeah, thank you. So it's becoming like a really close knit or like group of people, no?
Yeah, exactly.
It's very nice. So, with your topic for today, why did you want to spotlight the automatic keep alive client mixin?
Yeah. So why I chose this because it just grows out of my professional work. Because in my work, I sometimes use tab view. You know the tab. There's either the top tab navigation or bottom tab navigation.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, we always assume that when we switch back and forth, if the tab views the position of the tab view, you scroll into somewhere, you expect that when you go back to the original tab,
That it's still
the
there.
position will be maintained, right?
Yeah.
Or even better, if you type something into one tab, you switch to another tab to ask for help and then go back, it should be maintained. But right now, it's not the way that is Flutter is working. And I've been looking around on the internet, on Stack Overflow, even on the Medium. They have been using different kinds of tricks, workaround, etc. And it's just seemed weird because this particular mixing is the exactly the way it should be, and it was not used right enough. So I really just want to showcase that maybe it's not that edge case. Maybe it's a real day-to-day use that you should have it back in your mind, have it in your backup tricks. And the second thing is for people who haven't used Dart enough or who haven't used object-oriented language enough, they might not understand what the mixing is. So here I just show one use case of a mixing and explain, okay, in simple term, what mixing is. Have them so that they can have some understanding or some impression of how using a mixin, and later on they will understand, mixin is a way of using inheritance in object oriented without having some diamond inheritance problem in OOP. And hopefully they will be more interested in learning more about the better way to understand and use the OOP.
Okay, cool. So it really deserves more spotlight because it's a fix that is actually there, but they don't just know it. So anyway, so that's the end of our introductions, and I will be continuing with the first part of our program. So Flutter Philippines community. So this is us. So we are a collaborative community actually for anyone who is interested in developing applications using Flutter and Dart. So quite recently, we just had over 1,000 members both on Meetup and Facebook.com. So if you're not yet a member and you want to join us, so please join www.flutter.ph. And for Flutter at Home, this is the event that we are hosting tonight. So we're still on the learning phase. So we have been doing this for the second time now. So this is TruongSinh, our second speaker. So the learning phase is all about learning how to use Flutter and Dart. And so you can help build apps for mobile, desktop, and web. So after this, we will be having two more phases, which is the prototype phase where you would design, you would translate designs into Flutter, and then the hackathon afterwards. So it has been moved because we extended the learning phase. So once again, if you're not yet registered, you can go to athome.flutter.ph. Now, before we start, we have a few rules for this webinar. So actually, this is kind of outdated pala. So you don't have to turn off your camera or turn off your microphone now because everyone will be joining via the YouTube stream. For the Q&A portion, your question might be listed. You would use the sli.do, which is listed on the description of the YouTube stream. And later onwards, after the talk of TruongSinh, we will go in and check the questions so we can answer each and the more important ones, the ones that people voted top by far. And well, of course, respect each other and enjoy the webinar. So thank you all. TruongSinh, if you want to start your presentation now.
Nice, sure. So we're just on time.
Yeah,
Right.
7 o'clock. Cool.
Okay, guys. So here I'm using kind of self-hosted Dart part. So Dart part is a way for us to experimenting Dart and Flutter right on the web. I have the link here, l.truongsinh.pro/keep-tab-scroll-position. This link is also available on the YouTube streaming that you are watching right now. And well, basically, I put it here so that it's for people who are watching but not having the environment for running Flutter to easily to run. For example, you can click run here. If you already have the Flutter setup, you might want to prefer your IDE like VS Code or Android Studio, because for example, I might prefer IDE is VS Code. In VS Code, it's easier to have autocomplete, to have some shortcuts, which I will explain later why it's easier rather than doing that part. But that part is really nice to have when without any setup. Right. So here is our code. Here is our UI. You can see that we have 3 tabs. 1 tab, 3 tabs, and yeah. Sorry, my computer is not that powerful, and I'm streaming, so the interaction can seem a little bit slow. But anyway. So I have 3 tabs here. You can see that is tab bar view. And the tab 2 and tab 3, there's nothing interesting in there. It's just the icon. Tab 1 is the thing that we are interested. All right. And tab 1, basically, I have a list view with 500 items. And then each item is just a tie with the entry index. Now I can scroll, and it will just grow for 500 items. But see, for example, I am doing in one tab. I scroll to entry 30. I go to the other tab, and I go back. Boom! The entries just kind of reset, and we get back to entry 0. So this is something that we don't want, or at least the user experience shouldn't be like this. What we want is that, for example, when we scroll to, let's say, entry 9 or 11, when we go back from that, it should still maintain entry 11. And as mentioned previously, there are several workarounds on the internet, and it is workaround why there's one tool exactly used for this moment. Before I go there, let's think about it, right? So we want to maintain the position of this entry. Right now, the tab itself is just a stateless widget. Because it's a stateless widget, it can be rebuilt anytime without any internal state. So if we have any hope that it keeps retain the internal state, we have to convert this stateless widget to a stateful widget. And here's the thing. If you have the VS Code or Android Studio here, it's really easy to convert stateless widgets to stateful widget. If I remember correctly, you just hover here, and then there's a boop there, and then you can just convert easily. But now I will just do it the manual way, convert the tab one from stateless widgets to stateful widgets by hand. Right, let's go. So extends now stateful. So instead of this, it's a stateful widget. And in the stateful widget, so here at least we have the hint that we need to have the gray state. That's right. Gray state. Oh, I think it's the override. Gray state. And then is this state. Let me see if I can close some other of my script. All right, gray state. And now this must be extends state of tab one. All right, so I just convert tab one from stateless widgets to stateful widget. Let's see if it is still running. Okay, everything seems good so far. It's still running. Now, I mean, it's still running, but we haven't achieved our goal, right? Our goal is to maintain the position of this its start view. So next thing, there's a tool for that, as I mentioned, that is the automatic keep alive client mixin. Automatic. Do I get it right? Yes, I get it right. Automatic keep alive client mixin. And I kind of learn it by heart, but then you can always search this automatic keep client mixin on the Flutter API to read more about that. But now see, we have some hints here. So the automatic client mixin, we need to have the concrete implementation of getter one to keep alive, and we also need to call super in the build method. Let's do that. So I will override the getter. Well, we can go override the getter like this. Bool get want keep alive to true. So this is one. So the requirement for this mixin is the get the to override getter only, but we can also do it in the property way. So not a getter way, but property way. For example, like this. I tend to use this if everything else equals, because the property is just has some really small performance bonus compared to the getter. But anyway, we still have one thing, is that the build method must call supper. So it means that here supper dot build. And it must have the context. So this is the context, and this is the build context. By the way, build context is another thing that when you use Flutter for a while, you must be aware, conscious of using it. I have been seeing a lot of new people trying to use Flutter and then struggling with the build context. So let's see. We are rebuilding. And we if everything works, then yes, nice, we have it already. So right now, with the automatic keep alive client mixin, we can keep this state alive. So that's the name, automatic keep alive client mixin. A little bit more. So this syntax with something is mixin. A mixin is a way for object-oriented programming, OOP language, to have multiple inheritance, to have the multiple code reusability from multiple inheritance without the problem of diamond inheritance. So if you want to learn more, try to learn more about mixin, Dart mixin, or diamond inheritance problem. Now this automatic keep alive client mixin, it is applicable not only to tab, but to other sliver as well. So what is sliver in Flutter? Sliver is kind of a list view, a scrollable view. So sliver, a sliver. Actually, the tab view itself is also a sliver. You can see that I can scroll between the tab, right? So that's why the automatic keep alive client mixin is applicable here. And I scroll back, yeah. And the sliver is the tab view itself is a sliver, but then this list is also a sliver, and any scrollable view, any sliver, if we by default, if we scroll the item out of the display, then the state by default will be disposed, and we have to use automatic keep alive client mixin to achieve the desired goal that we want. And that brings me to the second exercise. So the second exercise here, I call it dispose keep alive. Right, so what do we have here? We no longer have tab view. We only have a list view of, again, 500 items. And each list item is a little bit interesting. So each list item is a stateful widget. It's already a stateful widget. Every time every time Flutter create a new state, I will just have the random integer from 0 to 100, 100 exclusive. And yeah, so and I also maintain the index of each of the title. For example, list item 1, 0, well, it is 0 index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And there's a random number here. So let's say at zero index, we have the random number 11, right? Now I scroll the list item 0 out of view for a while. What do you guess? That when I scroll back to item 0, so what number do we have? Now let's see. So I scroll it back, and it's now 31. So it's a different number. It is a different number because it is a different state, right? When I scroll the item 0 out of view, by default, again, the state will be disposed. And when I scroll the item 0 back into view, this state will be created. It is a totally new state. Now, our exercise is to have the option when to keep and when to dispose. So, for example, tab to keep, and now I want to keep number 77 of index 1, while I disregard, why dispose any other like in the index 0 or in the index 2. Now that is at least my goal, but see, list item 1 is 77, but I scroll a little bit down and then I scroll back. So the item number 1 now is 29, and it's not even highlighted. It's not even keeping the state that, hey, I want this item to be kept, right? So maybe you already know where we are going. We already have the state, so it's quite easy, right? We just need to use the automatic client automatic keep the mouthful keep alive client mixin. And yes, now we have what we did last time. So we need to get the want keep alive. We want to get it through, and we also need to super dot build context. Oh, this maybe. Now let's do a review. Let's say I want to keep 1 only, and remember I want to keep type 1, but I don't want to keep 0 or 2. So we have 6, 7, 27. Let's see what happened. 6, 7, 27, right? Let's go back. Wow, I scrolled too far, I think. Come on, okay. Now, actually, it's keeping everything 6, 7, 27, or 48. If you remember the third time. So now here's the thing: I want to keep some of the item, but not all of the items, right? So how we are going to do that? Of course, you may already guess that we need to somehow change the way want to keep alive, return the value. Remember, this want to keep alive itself is just a getter. We don't need to have this as a property. I just happen to like it that way. But now, particular for this exercise, we have to do something. So maybe we can, and by the way, this is active is already in place. Like when we tap it, we change the state, and it's active itself is also is also used to determine the style and the text. So maybe we can do like this. Let's say get give a line, and we will return the value. Oops. Oh, this is get. Maybe I will return the value like this. Well, this is where I hoped it will work. So it will achieve what we want, right? Keep something that we want and then dispose something else. Let's see whether it works. So I want to keep 38, but I want to dispose 10. Let's see what happened. Now scroll back. So 45 and 38. And now let's see if I want to keep 45, but then dispose 38. 45 and dispose 38. 45 and dispose 38. The 45, it seems to work, but 38 here, it seems like once we change the keep to true, it's just sticking, right? So right now I want to dispose both 45 and 38, but then it's no longer being disposed. Right? So it's a little bit weird, but actually, if you are reading the API of AutomaticKeepAliveClientMixin, it is saying that whenever the value returned by the getter of once keep alive changed, we have to call a special API that is part of AutomaticKeepAliveClientMixin as well. And if I remember correctly, update keep alive, maybe. Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, I can just look it up right now, but my CPU is quite high, so I don't want to have yet another Chrome tab. But let's see if we are having the right thing. Now, 26. Okay. We can easily check, right? Just tap it and then untap it, tap it, untap. So 26, 91, 37, 25. So it seems correct. Just want to make sure. Well, I will keep the first one. 37, 25, 37, 56. Okay, yay. So we get what we want. We have the granular control of when to keep the state and when to dispose it. By the way, so you see that you can see that maybe we already can kind of reuse our code and in a way to kind of refactor it. So instead of have is active and when to keep alive and being a getter to the active, I can just do something like this. Want to keep alive originally false, and then everything else will be based on want to keep alive. And remember, this update keep alive must still be in place whenever we change the once keep alive value. All right, so that's it. And remember, so this is the that part. That part is a really nice way to for me to construct this kind of tutorial. And if you don't remember or don't want to go through the whole tutorial, then you can just go through the solution here. And I have the solution code in here as well. That is the kind of the final way for final code that is working in my expectation. Okay, thank you very much. And that's let me see if I have anything else. I already go through the two exercises. I already explained the mixin, the concept of mixin in OOP. I already have some quick introduction for that part. Yeah, I think that's it. Z. Z, you're muted.
Okay. There have been a few questions that have been coming in. Sir Jason,
Yep.
if you want. Yeah,
Yes.
there we go.
All right. Thank you, TruongSinh, for that wonderful, informative webinar. So we will go ahead and take some time for some questions. So let's check our screen here. So the first one, I think it's a really interesting question. When not to use automatic keep alive client mixin? Are there any scenarios that you shouldn't use it?
Yeah, good question. So, good question, even though it's kind of ambiguous. So, when not to use automatic keep a client live client mixin, when not to use it, but then what is your expectation? If your expectation is not to keep the state, the state, or not to maintain the state, then not using it at all. There's another thing though. When you want to maintain the state, but then you do not use the automatic keep alive client mixin, that's the interesting thing. Because, for example, if you are going through the navigation route in Flutter, the automatic keep alive client mixin is not applicable because it's no longer a sliver, it's no longer a scroll that you can scroll out of view and then you scroll back because it's in another, it's in the navigational realm already. You cannot use automatic keep alive client mixin there. You cannot, oh, I am in the father route, I go to the child route, and when I go back to the father route, I want to maintain this state. You cannot use automatic keep alive client mixin there. You have to use some other state management there. So that is the key thing. Also, if you do conditional rendering, like if some conditional render this render item A, render a widget A, otherwise render widget B. If you switching this kind of conditional rendering, when you switch from widget A to widget B, the widget A will be disposed, widget A state will also be disposed. There you cannot use automatic keep alive client mixin either, because again, it is not scrolling out of view in the same sliver, in the same scrollable widget. It is already destroyed out of the widget tree, so you cannot use automatic keep alive client mixin there. Again, there you should be using state management instead, or at least right now, I am not aware of any other way to easily maintain the state between either conditional rendering or different routing. So there you have it. That two scenario where you may want to keep the state, but you should not use automatic keep alive client mixin. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. So the next one would be um, how does automatic keep alive client mixing affect app performance?
So talking about app performance, we have CPU and we have memory, right? So for CPU is it's minuscule, is insignificant, not so much to think about it. Otherwise, again, Flutter is praised for its performance, so don't worry about it. The memory, though, you might want to think whether you really want to keep the state. If you have a really complicated state, huge complicated state, um, there's a reason that if the widget is not rendered, we want to get rid of the state and then create a new state later. It depends on how complicated the state you think you are going to keep. But for example, in my exercise, we have some kind of list time, or even if you have a form. So far, I don't see any significant performance degrade from using that. Well, for example, we have, let's say, 30 megabytes of memory when running the Flutter app already. Oh, by the way, when you talk about performance, do it in profile mode, or well, always do it in profile mode. In production mode, it's really hard to get the performance number. In debug mode, the performance number is not accurate. Anyway, when do I do the profile? There is hardly any significance because our app already consumes 30 megabytes. It's like 1 or 2 more kilobytes. I cannot see it by my eyes. So yeah, it doesn't affect as far as I can see.
All right, excellent. The next one would be, um, oh, sorry about that. I think I deleted that one.
I think the other question is that if it is useful, why the default behavior of tap view controller,
mhm.
yeah, blah blah blah. Um, I mean, I am a GD. I am not the Flutter core team, but then I would I would say that it is somehow consistent if you know what is under the hood. So as I explained multiple times, tab view itself is just a sliver. It's just a scrollable widget, right? If you just say, "Oh, it's a tab view," why don't? Then because you don't understand the technicality, the under the hood thing. Any sliver, as mentioned, any scrollable view, always use this automatic keep alive client mixin, and any sliver or any scrollable view widget is always have automatic keep alive client mixin off by default. So that's the reason. Sometimes it's counterintuitive, but then if you get into the hierarchy, into the under the hood mechanics, you may see the consistency there.
Excellent. Okay. I think this next question is a bit similar to what you've answered a while
Yeah.
ago. So I'll
So no
mark
worry,
it.
it doesn't slow you down.
Alrighty.
For what matter, those some of the workaround that I see for keeping the tab state is the performance is worse than this. So yeah, no worry.
All right. So last one would be regarding app performance. What if the widget we are keeping alive contains animation? I mean, would it affect it or not?
So whether it affected, I would say that it depends on how you keep the state and the animation. If, for example, it is the, let's say, indefinite animation, just like I don't know, rolling about like this, then
Yep.
it means that even if it's not rendered, the state must maintain and running on every tick. So here is one of the it's nice catch, by the way, that, for example, we want to pause the animation. Pause the can be a twin or some implicit or explicit animation. Pause it so that we don't waste CPU cycle to calculate the animation state, but we can still keep the state.
Excellent. Alrighty. All right. It looks like we covered all of our guests' questions. Trung-Sing, is there anything else that you wanted to cover before we wrap up?
I think for now that's great, and I love the engagement from the audience. So I mean, thank you very much.
All right. Great. Thank you. And thank
Yeah,
you,
thank you.
everyone. We appreciate you um, being here in this webinar. Thank you for joining us again today. And we will see you next time. Make sure to keep watch of our Facebook page and our meetup page. Then we will update you of our next webinar. All right.
Bye,
Thank
Cool.
guys.
you.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Keep fluttering.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.